Welcome back to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports, where in boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Now, what we were talking about in part one, then I had some issues with the internet out here. A lot of bad weather, a lot of people on the internet, man, which threw us off. Got back on last night a couple of times. And it just kept acting.
Your mama's going down, bro.
Your mama's so sweet that the dentist had.
Let me pause this. But it kept acting the fool anyway. So I decided just to wait to get back on here today and continue with the live. All right. So let me skip this. Okay, let me pause that. All right. So let me pick up where we left off. All right, we were talking about Canelo Alvarez, and we were talking about as far as what happens to him with fighters from 160 to 175 pounds. And there were a lot of people who had kind of, chimed in the comment section, and they had opinions about what I was saying. Some people felt that it was too early to come out here now and say Canelo Alvarez, that his time is over. Now, I want to be crystal clear on what I'm saying. When I say his time is over, that doesn't mean Canelo Alvarez is a gatekeeper. That's not at all what I'm saying. Canelo Alvarez is far from a gatekeeper. So I just want to make sure we put things in perspective when we start talking about Canelo Alvarez. This man is not a gatekeeper. But I'm going to tell you what concerns me about Canelo Alvarez, right? And when watching Canelo Alvarez fight yesterday, I'm going to tell you what concerned me. When you think about Canelo Alvarez, right, in particular when he fought Angulo, when Canelo Alvarez fought James Kirkland, okay? I'm going to pull something up. The things that he was able to do in those fights were a result of his quick hands, combination punching, going to the body and head, right? A very impressive and a very creative punch selection. Now, what we saw last night and what we saw in the Triple G fight and also what we saw in the Bivol fight, right? There's a pattern. There's a pattern that's developed with Canelo. And what I'm getting at is Canelo is kind of gone from throwing those beautiful combinations we're used to seeing him throw. He's gone from throwing 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 punch combinations to single shots. All right? And that's just not going to cut it. And I watched him against Bivol. Even when he fought Triple G in the first two fights, Canelo it was a little bit more than just trying to pop shot. He was actually letting his hands go more. But what you see happening here with him now is I don't know if he's fallen in love with his power because of his ability to hurt opponents, knock opponents out, in particular how he was able to fracture that eye socket of what's his name, Billy Joe Saunders. Maybe he's really relying on his power to hurt opponents. Now, I'm going to tell you this. When I look at Canelo Alvarez and I look at where he started off at, this man started off fighting at 140 pounds, okay? And from 140 pounds, he's bubbled himself all the way up to 175 pounds. Now, that's a big leap across weight divisions. But that's what the great fighters do. They'll start off at a lower weight, and over the years, they'll continue to move up just to show just how dominant they are as a fighter. And this is what helps to go on, man, to cement their legacy and also to help them to go on and become pound for pound. Because when you get a guy who's able to dominate multiple weight divisions, that speaks volumes. And Canelo's been able to do that. But just to put things into perspective, when Canelo first started off fighting, 140 pounds, okay? Then over a couple of years, he moved up, was fighting at 147, all right? And then he fought at 147 for several years, and then he kind of floated around there for a while, all right? So that's kind of where Canelo Alvarez, I would say the sweet spot is for him. He really is a 147 pounder. But a lot of people forget about that. Canelo Alvarez challenging himself and going up and fighting at 154 pounds or some of these different catch weights, 150 pounds. But to see him go from 140 to 154 at like a 7-year period, that says a lot about Canelo Alvarez and what he was putting his body through. And what's going on, the real Rick? He says Canelo looks tired, the fire isn't there. Now, Rick, I'm going to tell you right now, the fire is not there, man. And when I say that, it doesn't mean that there's not some kind, I would say it's not a roaring blaze. There's a fire, but no roaring blaze. That roaring blaze that I'm talking about was the Canelo that fought Angulo, the Canelo that was fighting Mayweather. And although he lost to Mayweather, he was trying to throw his combinations. He had fast hands. The Canelo that fought James Kirkland, letting his hands go, super fast hands. The Canelo that fought Shane Mosley. Even Alfonso Gomez, Josecito Lopez, got in there with Austin Trout, and Miguel Cotto. That Miguel Cotto, that Saul Alvarez is no more, man. He doesn't throw the combinations. Everything with him is relying on one big shot to try to hurt an opponent, to try to knock an opponent out. And that's just not getting the job done. It's just not enough. And I just don't think his power, right? It's just enough at 168 pounds. I don't think his power definitely isn't enough at 175. Even at 160, his power may not be enough against those elite fighters. And you've seen it happen to other fighters, man. Like Floyd Mayweather was a beast in those lower weight divisions. But as he moved up, he still had respectable power, but he wasn't just necessarily going to come and walk through an opponent. You saw that happen even as of late with Adrian Broner. We saw what he did at 130, 135, 140. He clipped everybody. But what happened at a certain point, the power isn't as effective in those higher weight classes. And that's what happened to Adrian Broner as well. So now when you look at Canelo, the fact that he has so much wear and tear, and people are just looking at his age. And I think that's where they're going wrong. They're looking at Canelo and saying, okay, Canelo Alvarez is only 31 or 32 years old. He doesn't have wear and tear on him. But they're forgetting that he turned pro in 2005, man. Canelo has 59 wins, 39 by knockout, 2 losses. This man has 61 fights. It's a lot of wear and tear. So when you factor in all the wear and tear, the fact that he's been fighting for so long and he's not throwing combinations anymore, he's going to have a tough time. The 155-pound division he created starts to make more sense now. Absolutely, Rick. Absolutely. And, when I draw attention to this stuff, man, some people think that, majority of people understand, like you and I, we're just having a conversation. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, I'm wrong. We have a conversation, and then it's like, you know what, I didn't see it that way. So yeah, Rick, absolutely. But when you get some people who come in here who don't really understand Canelo, his career, of course 155 makes sense for him, man. Canelo really shouldn't be fighting above 154, I would say. I'd say 147 to 154 is the sweet spot. But it's hard for him to get down to 147. So 154 is really where Canelo Alvarez is the most effective. But it just takes a lot of discipline for him to cut that kind of weight. And I just think at a certain point in time, especially when Canelo went on to become, after he lost to Mayweather, but Mayweather retired and Canelo was out here moving up and down weight divisions, and he became the face of boxing, and he recognized that he was the draw, he was the money guy, he was the A side. He said, you know what, I'm going to pick and choose the opponents because, Rick, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to tell you when he started fighting at about 154, right? So Ryan Rhodes was really the first fight where it looks like they fought between 153 pounds or so, 152. I'd say 154 pounds was the weight class. That's 2011. So from 2011 right up until 2016. So for 5 years, Canelo was fighting at 154, right? Then he jumped up for that weird catch weight in 2017 at 164, and he fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., right? And we all know Chavez Jr. was drained for that fight. But it is what it is. He fought him, and He went on to beat him in a lopsided decision. But you saw even a weight drain, dehydrated Chavez Jr., Canelo couldn't stop him. Then he goes on to fight Golovkin. They fought at 160, right? Couldn't stop him. Fought Golovkin again. And I personally think Canelo lost the first two Golovkin fights. I think Cotto was his last fight at 155. Let me show you what I'm looking at right here, man, so you can see what I'm talking about. So let's look right here. Let me go down. Miguel Cotto, right here. So you see after that, you know, him and Khan had that weird catch weight in 2016. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you. Okay. So then after that, Liam Smith, looks like that was 154 pounds. Okay. And then you go on up. Like after Liam Smith, that's when he jumped up and he kind of got away from the 100. Yeah. He got away from the 154 pound division. But you can see from right here, 2016, 2017, you see the 10-pound jump, but we know he did that weird catch weight with Chavez Jr. Then Golovkin at 160 for all the marbles, and I personally think he lost the first Golovkin fight. I think he lost the second Golovkin fight, but that's just my opinion. Then he jumped up again. Remember, and I personally feel this is where we say he was, you know, cherry picking. And he knew who he was fighting in Rocky Field, and he was a champion, but Canelo knew exactly what he was doing. The matchmakers knew what they were doing when he went and picked off Rocky Field. Then he fought Daniel Jacobs, which to me, he came back down to 160, which to me is still impressive to go up in weight and come back down in weight. Like that's just not something that's encouraged. You know what I'm saying? That really takes its toll on your body. That's something else. I don't think a lot of people are understanding. With all the weight fluctuation, gaining weight, cutting weight, you know, year after year after year, that takes its toll on your body as well. And in between camps, I don't know how much Canelo gets I don't know how much he weighs, but I think he manages his weight pretty good. But then again, he gets up probably another 10 pounds or so. That takes its toll on your body. When I say body, I'm talking about your joints. I'm talking about your organs, everything. So he comes back down in 2019, fights Daniel Jacobs. And Daniel Jacobs just looked like he lost his right to complain because he didn't let his hands go enough, in my opinion. And that could be attributed to the fact that Miguel Cotto, Canelo Alvarez, has heavy hands. So he still was throwing more combinations in the Jacobs fight than last night. Then he fought Kovalev, and we saw what happened in the Kovalev fight. He was letting his hands go. Okay, then he went on to fight Caleb Smith, Yildirim, and Billy Joe Saunders. And we saw what happened in the Saunders fight. But he was in the Saunders fight, he was throwing combinations, but it was still more single shots as well. And what I think happened is when he got in there with Caleb Plant, kind of the same thing, cutting the ring off, putting that mental pressure on a fighter, and letting super hard shots go. And he had success with that style. But then he comes against Bivol, and that style didn't work. We saw what Canelo was doing. He was trying to let go one or two hard shots at a time, but trying to land on the arms of Bivol. Like, that's just not going to get the job done. So he loses that fight, right? There's no argument. He loses that fight, goes on to fight Golovkin again. And the same style that he kind of used last night, he used against Golovkin, he got a win. But that Golovkin is not the Golovkin from the first two fights. And I think we all can agree. Then he goes on and gets in the ring with John Ryder. And again, what we saw last night with John Ryder was Canelo with the single shots and the pop shotting. But I'm going to tell you right now, that's a telltale sign of what's to come for Canelo Alvarez. Right? He had somebody in there with a nose that was shattered from the second round on, that couldn't breathe out of his mouth, that was swallowing blood. And Canelo Alvarez could not stop him. Canelo Alvarez couldn't discourage him. And that's a problem. So when we just sit here and think about Canelo and not having the power at 168, not having the power definitely at 175, how is he going to get in the ring and keep a guy like David Benavidez off of him? You understand? Now, that being said, when we talk about, Rick says his 168 campaign, his punch volume went down. It went way down. And you know why it went down? Is because he's fighting bigger guys, man. And he's also known for and this is public knowledge. Canelo's known for fatiguing in fights. So one, he's got this extra weight on him, right? He's got bigger opponents in the ring. And then three, he's throwing super hard single shots to try to make those guys think twice about pressing him. As a result, if he was to throw those 5, 6, 7, 8 punch combinations, 10, 12 punch combinations that we know he can, I think by round 4, Canelo would be spent and he'd be in trouble. So I think he's really trying to create a right balance between his stamina and his offense. Because even his defense, right? This is something that no one wants to recognize. Did y'all see how many Canelo's getting hit? He's getting hit more and more. And it's not that he's not seeing the punches. His reaction time has slowed. Okay? Canelo used to be able to stand right in the pocket. And with his, just from the hips, right there bending at the hips, getting underneath punches, just a little bit of movement, his head movement, and you couldn't hit him. Now he's getting hit with shots. There's a reason why Canelo went to that post-fight press conference with those shades on. I don't know if y'all saw what Canelo's nose looked like. He like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It was like Christmas time, that big red nose he had, because he got hit in that damn nose several times with straight left hands. Canelo Alvarez never gets hit like that. Now, him getting hit with clean, flush shots like that, what's Canelo going to do if he's fighting Benavidez? If he's fighting Morrell? Matter of fact, forget about those two. What's he going to do, right? Let me pull this up. What's he going to do if he's fighting Demetrius Andrade? Okay? Like, that's the real question. What happens if he's fighting Demetrius Andrade? People don't want to talk about that. I'm letting y'all know right now. Canelo Alvarez, this is him at 168 pounds. Okay? What's he gonna do with these guys? That's all I'm saying. He's in here at a weight division to where his power just hasn't carried over. Can he hurt somebody with one shot? Yeah, but can he discourage and knock out these 168 pounders? You know what I'm saying? Probably not. You know, Caleb Plant, this Canelo Alvarez right now, and that Caleb Plant got tired, man. That's what happened with Caleb Plant. He got tired. And then he got tired. He was a sitting duck, and Canelo was able to catch him with some shots. But right now, this Canelo Alvarez, I don't think it happens. Dion Diggs, I like to see Canelo Lara too. I think Canelo Lara too. Dion, I like what you're saying, man. Canelo Lara too would be very interesting. You know why? I'm going to tell you why I think so. Because Lara doesn't have the legs anymore. Lara stands in front of you, and he fights now. And the thing about Canelo is, he's worried about his stamina, and he doesn't throw a bunch of combinations. He's looking for the single shot. So I think Canelo Lara would be pretty competitive. And I even said last night, I wouldn't be surprised if Danny Garcia, who's fighting Lara, right? If he beats Lara, all of a sudden now, you got Danny Garcia in the talks for fighting Canelo Alvarez. But we know the plan right now is for Canelo Alvarez to go and get his butt whipped. Yep, absolutely, Dion. The plan right now is for Canelo Alvarez to go and get his butt whipped again by Bivol. Now, we all know Canelo Alvarez should not be messing around up here with these guys at 175. Like, hold your horses. Let's not take it to the stupid. Canelo Alvarez has no business messing around with these 175 pounders. You know what I'm saying? That's just suicide. And I know we got some Canelo fans out there, but when I say that, it's not to be disrespectful to Canelo. I mean, come on, man. That's like someone saying I'm disrespecting Floyd Mayweather by saying Floyd had no business at 168. He never went to 168, but come on. As great as Floyd Mayweather is, to have gone to 168 and fought a super talented fighter at 168, like let's say an Andre Ward, who wins that fight? You know what I'm saying? Come on. So what I'm saying is we got to be very realistic about how far these fighters can go. Now, James Toney was a little bit of a freak of nature. Roy Jones was a freak of nature, but remember, Roy Jones didn't go up and clean out the heavyweight division. The real Rick says, I think he'd rather lose to Bivol daring than get whipped by David. I think there's some truth in that. I do, because he lost to Bivol, but everybody more or less gave him a pass for that. You know what I mean? He was more or less praised than punished for the loss. You know, everybody lauded him. They're like, oh, wow, Canelo's daring to be great. No one else has the balls to do it. So good job. He's trying to do things. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think what you're saying is true, Rick. But there's something else we got to look at as well. This whole thing about 168 pounds, the WBC, they're being clowns, man. And I think it's unfortunate. They don't want Bivol to fight for any WBC straps, which is complete bullcrap, all because he's Russian. Hell, Bertabiev is Russian too. Matter of fact, Bertabiev has that WBC strap at 175. But Bertabiev already said once he retires, he's going back to live in Russia. Bivol lives in California. He has no plans on returning to Russia. Bertabiev is in Canada, plans on returning to Russia. So don't come talking this WBC strap crap to me, because Mauricio Suleiman, he wants Canelo Alvarez to somehow beat Bivol and go on to become undisputed at 175 and fight Bertabiev. And I really think that's what the end goal is for this secret society and sanctioning bodies. You know what I'm saying? But as far as Canelo going to fight Bivol, yeah, I do think another part of the whole story is he'd rather go up there and lose to someone like Bivol, because it's basically still, although he loses, it's a win-win. If he comes and he loses to David Benavidez, well, that's a huge problem. Okay? Because now all those belts at 168 are gone. And to be quite honest with you, I think we can all agree. Let's just take a look at what we got here. Look at this WBC column. David Benavidez is the WBC interim world super middleweight champion. What are we doing? Like, there's nothing to discuss. You know what I'm saying? That Benavidez is right there. Canelo just fought Ryder. Okay, so now you got the WBC, WBA. He should be fighting one of those guys, right? Rick says it's because Canelo running out of ideal opponents. He got nowhere to run. He's taking an L. He knows it. Absolutely. He really should be fighting David Benavidez or Morrell. But if you look at the damn secret society, you look at what these sanctioning bodies are doing. I'm going to tell you right now, there's a common thread amongst those guys, and they have a symbiotic relationship when they want to do things that they want. Afro Jam says 168 is a weak division. I mean, I don't know. This is 168 right here, man. I mean, this is 168. So I'm not really sure how we could call the 168 pound division a weak division. I mean, if we're comparing this division here against 135, 140, 147, then I mean, yeah, I would say it's weak. Now, if you said the cruiserweight division was a weak division, I agree with you 100%. But when it comes to this right here with Canelo, he's running out of options. Even when you look at this, we were looking at this last night. Just looking at the WBO, who's the number one? It's Demetrius Andrade. You know what I'm saying? Then you got this guy Bazignan. Then number 3 is Diego Pacheco. You're telling me that Andrade, I don't know about Bazignan, but Pacheco and Andrade, you don't think they would give Canelo problems if not beat him? Come underneath the IBF. You got this guy here, Shishkin, Berlanga, Skull, right? You telling me under the IBF that these 3 guys, the Canelo right now, who just wants to throw single shots, right? You're telling me these 3 guys don't have a good chance to beat Berlanga? What's going on, Miss B? How you doing? Oh, that name is a killer, man. But you come under the WBC, like Benavidez is right there. Benavidez should be next up. It's horrible because they want Benavidez to fight Morrell. Should Canelo retire if he loses? I don't think he should retire, but I'm going to tell you what. In my opinion, I think Canelo may need to take a little time away from the sport. I think he may need to take a little time from the sport, man. And Dion, what you're saying about once Canelo loses the belts, he loses leverage, absolutely. But the reason I think, Miss B, Canelo should take some time away from the sport is because Floyd Mayweather took time away from the sport, Sugar Ray Leonard took time away from the sport, Oscar De La Hoya took time away from the sport. And when you've been going all gas, no brakes, since you've been, 15 years old, 16, since he's been a pro? Let me tell you what, it doesn't matter how young he is now at 31, 32, or how great he feels. His body needs to rest. You know what I'm saying? His body needs to rest. So I think if he loses, I think he may take a break, but I don't think he'll quit. Because Canelo Alvarez, he has goals. And he said yesterday, he said that he wants to fight for a long time in boxing. Remember, Canelo Alvarez said he wants to become a billionaire. What about Andre? Let me tell you something, Miss B. Demetrius Andrade is in the breeze. This man, I don't think he'll ever get an opportunity. You know, and that's what sucks. I think Demetrius Andrade's best chance at a fight with a big name is him and Charlo. I must be honest with you, him and Jamal Charlo. Jamal Charlo's come out and, you know, for the first time really seems to be adamant about trying to fight Andre because really they need each other. Jamal Charlo's kind of in the breeze. He got the WBC title, but, you know, Jamal Charlo is down here. You know what I'm saying? At 160 pounds. But really, Andre may have to drop back down to 160 to fight Jamal Charlo. But yeah, Demetrius Andrade, nobody giving him a shot at 168 pounds. Matter of fact, Andre should have been positioned instead of Beckett. Absolutely. He should have just been fighting. Just fighting. You know, they got one person who I always refer to him. Y'all remember Austin Trout, right? Austin Trout, once he got that opportunity to fight Miguel Cotto, and he beat Miguel Cotto, what did he do? He was fighting everybody. Everybody. Austin Trout was fighting everybody. You look up Austin Trout out here fighting what's his name, man? He was fighting Canelo. He fought the Charlos. Austin Trout was fighting everybody. Win or lose, he was putting in work. Most importantly, he was stacking up his money. But Demetrius Andrade would never do that. You know, this guy's an Olympian. Outstanding amateur. Outstanding as a professional. And no promoter wants to really touch him. It's just really unfortunate. But he's kind of hurt himself too because instead of him just going out there, instead of him going out here and just fighting and winning, tuck your head. Everyone knows you're great, right? We all know you're great, Demetrius. But just go fight. It's crazy. Rick Tan says there was a point when Charlo and Andre were fighting on the same night, separate cards in the same division. That is kind of crazy, man. Same night, separate cards in the same division. That is stupid. But right now, they both need each other. So, I don't know. I haven't heard much more on Andre. I know he went over there to PBC. It looked like the plan with him being over there with Showtime and trying to fight one of these Charlos and trying to fight these big names over there at PBC to possibly what's his name, Benavidez or any of those guys. But I just don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen, man. He came back. He had one fight over there, man, on Tank's undercard when they fought out there in the DMV area, and since then he's just been in a holding pattern. But Demetrius Andrade is suffering the same nonsense as the other fighters over there on PBC, man. You know, all those guys, it's like they're all in this pipe, and the pressure in that pipe is building. When is that pipe gonna burst? When are we gonna get those fights? You know what I'm saying? Everyone, not even Earl Spence is fighting. You know what I'm saying? Nobody over there in PBC is fighting right now. So Andrade is a horrible move that he made, and it's unfortunate that Eddie Hearn couldn't deliver the Canelo fight to him when he was with Matchroom, because that's what Andrade was hoping for. But it seemed to me like he was trying to put money. His effort wasn't great, but he wanted his reward, his financial reward, to be great. But, you know, if your effort's not greater than other people, your financial reward's not going to be greater. And I don't think he put forth enough effort. Even when he was trying to knock guys out, even after the first 4 or 5 rounds, when he couldn't get them out of there, he still would look, in some spots, relatively sloppy. You know what I'm saying? And plus, he's not a draw, so people don't want to mess with him. He's high threat, no reward. I know we hear that all the time. It sounds cliche, but that's just the reality of a guy like Demetrius Andrade. But that being said, with Canelo going forward, I'm telling y'all right now, and I'm not saying this to be negative, and I'm not a bandwagonist at all, but Canelo Alvarez is going to be in tough no matter who he fights from now on. He just has nowhere else to go. He has nowhere else to go. And when I say that he's not going to be able to knock these guys out, I'm not saying that like he's lost power. What I'm saying is the power that he carried up from 140 to 147 and 154. Look, we're talking about 160, 168, 175 now. It's just not going to carry up to those weights. Rick says, Triple G just sitting there this whole time collecting checks. He would have been perfect for the Charlos and Andres. Man, Triple G would have been a great fight for the Charlos, for Andre. Triple G would have been a good fight for Eubank Jr. You know what I'm saying? When you think about this 160-pound division right here, Triple G, even Munguia. But, we know Canelo's very careful De La Hoya is very careful when it comes to Munguia, Ortiz, even Zurdo Ramirez, Ryan Garcia. Canelo left Oscar De La Hoya, and Oscar De La Hoya hasn't recovered. You know what I'm saying? De La Hoya, every chance he gets, he's talking about Canelo. He's saying negative things about Canelo. He's talking about how he helped build Canelo's career. So De La Hoya is still butthurt over Canelo leaving him and going to Eddie Hearn, and Eddie Hearn taking Canelo, who was a star already, and basically shining him up and making him shine brighter than before. Diggs says, I believe that Floyd fight still lives in Canelo's head. Any black fighter with footwork he avoids. It does make you wonder, right? With all of those fighters who are available for Canelo to fight, who are good fighters, it makes you wonder why he didn't at least. He fought Daniel Jacobs, but why didn't he go out there and take on a Charlo? You know what I'm saying? Why didn't he fight Andre? But he did fight Daniel Jacobs, but stars kind of lined up for Daniel Jacobs because he was over there with Eddie Hearn. Canelo was over there. I definitely feel, and I understand exactly what you're saying, Dion, but I definitely feel if one of the Charlos would have been signed to Matchroom, I think they would have made that fight. No doubt about that. Eddie Hearn's not dumb either, man. Eddie Hearn knows how to play the matchmaking game. He's all about maximizing profits. And if they're going to put Canelo in something that's extremely high risk, they want to make sure it still ends up like in the Bivol case. A lot of money's made, but Canelo's profile doesn't get hurt. It gets elevated. And although Canelo lost to Bivol, I think his profile was elevated. Rick Tan says, Golden Boy is dead. Oh, yeah, man, we know Golden Boy, man. That's a crack house. He was trying to sell, and that's the other thing when we talk about Oscar De La Hoya. I'm going to tell y'all this. I think that his whole company, man, I think is a crack house. And people just come out here and say, oh, man, you're wrong to say that. Well, I'm going to tell you why I say that. Because last year he was talking about selling Golden Boy. Y'all see, the thing is, there's a lot of people who come out here and just want to go in the comment section and spew nonsense. I mean, yo, man, do your due diligence and let's understand. Golden Boy is adamant about Oscar De La Hoya is adamant about selling Golden Boy. He doesn't want that headache anymore. His boy Eric Gomez is basically taking on the headache Richard Schaefer had, where Oscar De La Hoya is out here doing whatever he's doing with his little weird girlfriend, right? And then Eric Gomez is left to deal with the headache. And Bernard Hopkins not really a help. I don't even know what the hell Bernard Hopkins' role is. But remember last year, Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya talking about, oh yeah, I got $1 billion company. Then he goes to Twitter like a week later, right? He's on Twitter talking about, yeah, we got some investors looking to come in and buy Golden Boy. But then look at what Oscar De La Hoya did over the last year, right? Let's really pay attention to the moves this man made. He won that purse bid to get Ortiz against Danny Eunice. Ortiz had all kind of issues with rhabdo, whatever. I think Ortiz needs to stop boxing because if steroids is not the cause of his medical struggles and it's from really just working too hard in the gym, then he probably needs to find something different to do because it's not cool to risk your health. But anyway, he's going to put Ortiz, to me, as his flagship fighter, right, outside of Ryan. Going to put him in tough. Going to put him in real tough with Stan Eunice. Then he went and put Zurdo Ramirez in there with Bivol. I know he knew Zurdo couldn't beat Bivol, right? So he's taking his big-name fighters and putting him in there with these high-risk fights. Then he's come out and Blair Flair Cobb, he had Blair Flair lose to Rocha. And then we're going to put him in there with Maurice Hooker. But Blair shocked everybody and beat Maurice Hooker. You know what I'm saying? But now Blair to Flair, they won't even sign Blair to Flair again. So it's all crazy. And now he's looking to take, what's his name, Jaime Munguia, and he was looking to cash out Munguia, but he's afraid to do that. And he cashed out Ryan Garcia. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at the things Oscar De La Hoya has done, from Zurdo Ramirez, with Virgil Ortiz, with Ryan Garcia, and with what he was looking to do with Jaime Munguia. Remember, they were actually talking about Jaime Munguia fighting Adames, fighting Alam Kanuli. Munguia didn't want none of that. Munguia was chasing after old Golovkin. That's the fight they were chasing after. Golovkin didn't pay him no attention. So then Munguia goes now, and he's fighting Derevinchenko. But Oscar De La Hoya is not going to take Munguia and risk him against someone who he feels could really beat him. Because Ryan Garcia is already down and out. And Ryan Garcia is looking for, he's already begging, well, I'm going to say he's begging, but he asked Eddie Reynoso if he could help him. Eddie Reynoso has said he's a professional. He's looking to help Ryan Garcia out. But if Ryan Garcia can get away from Golden Boy, then what does Oscar have left? So I agree with what you guys are saying, man. Oscar De La Hoya, he's kind of out there a little bit. And he even went on the interview and was talking about, he said, why not wear fishnets? Why not wear women's panties? Some crazy shit he said. So anyway, Oscar De La Hoya is on a whole nother level, man. When we talk boxing and De La Hoya, I'm not saying these other guys may not have some weird tendencies, but damn, De La Hoya is just a freak. He's a freak, you know what I'm saying? The fishnet freak. But anyway, man, so going forward, now you got, what's his name? Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury out here. He sure as hell don't know what the hell he wants to do. So let's take a look at what's going up here at the heavyweights. I don't know if y'all keep up with the heavyweights, man. But it's, I think when the dust settles, when it comes to these heavyweights, I'm going to be honest with you. I think you could see Deontay Wilder being the undisputed champ. In 2024, I think Deontay Wilder could end up being the undisputed heavyweight champion. And I'm just being honest with you, man. When I look at what they have planned at the end of this year, Fury's a weird dude too. He belongs with Golden Boy. Hell yeah, Fury is out there, man. Fury, I don't know what. Hey, let me tell y'all something. I used to box too, right? Not on the level of these guys. I had some amateur fights. I fought in a lot of smokers. I trained a lot. I was at 160. Never in my life, when I was shadow boxing, when I was sparring, and Mike Tyson is a weird one too, was I in there in no goddamn boxing shorts or no Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. pink boxing shorts or briefs jumping around the ring. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what are these guys doing out here? Crazy. So yeah, there's definitely some freaks out here in the goddamn boxing community. But when it comes, Miss B says Tim Bradley is lying. Ain't no way this guy's 100% vegan. Nah, I don't think so, man. Miss B says he's got muscles on muscles. But what do y'all think about the heavyweight division, though? See, that's the real thing. Because at the end of this year, they got a whole lot going on. Wilder and AJ. Fury not too far from wearing fishnets either. Nah, Fury's right there. Mike Tyson still dressed like he's in the 80s. Yeah, Mike Tyson, man, I don't know what to think about that guy, but my boy, they need to put some goddamn clothes on, man. These dudes crazy, man. Don't even get me going. I'm trying my best not to start laughing out here this morning. It's Sunday. You know, God forgive me. But Jesus Christ, man, them dudes is out there a little bit, aren't they? Yeah, Real Rick says Wilder's still the top dog. Hey, I'm going to tell y'all right now. Tyson Fury, this man's focus is 100% money. He doesn't care about legacy. He don't even care about belts. Alexander Usyk cares about legacy still. He wants some dough, but he cares about legacy. Anthony Joshua don't care about no belts. Anthony Joshua just wants money. Matter of fact, Anthony Joshua, he needs some help because my boy said, I'm not a bruiser, I'm a thinking man. I'm a businessman. Anyone knows me outside of boxing, I'm not an aggressive person. I'm a thinker. So now Anthony Joshua, he wants to come in boxing and totally overhaul his style. And now Anthony Joshua wants to be Chris Bird in the ring. You know what I'm saying? He wants to be a master boxer. Let me tell you something. That can't work for a guy like Anthony Joshua, man. His success was basically built off of him being an extremely vicious, aggressive fighter. You know what I'm saying? What's up, little man? That's my son. What's up? You guys go ahead. You guys have popsicles. Close the door. Close the door. But yeah, so I just think that's problems when I saw that Wilder twerking crap, man. I said, yo, let me tell you something. Sometimes, man, I'd rather not know about what goes on in these guys' lives. You know what I mean? Guys out here twerking and whatever the hell they doing. But yeah, Miss B, I agree. I do think Wilder I think he beats AJ because AJ doesn't want to commit to his shots. AJ can't come in there trying to, yeah, I agree with you, Miss B. Anthony Joshua is coming in there against Deontay Wilder to try to outbox him, to show that he has intelligence, he has skills. He wants to do that because Lomachenko hurt his feelings after he lost to Usyk, because Lomachenko, with his limited English, said to Joshua, you're a very strong, very good fighter, very strong fighter. We all know that Lomachenko, Canelo Alvarez, Usyk, they don't speak really, really good English. You know what I mean? But they can make you feel that they speak really good English because they may get a couple sentences out that sound really good. But Anthony Joshua wanted to fight Lomachenko because all Lomachenko said was, you're very strong. So now Anthony Joshua took that personal. So he wants to show everyone that he's not just strong, he has a high skill set. And as a result, I think he's going to get his ass tranquilized by Deontay Wilder. The real Rick says, all that buffness from Joshua and he wants to finesse. I know, that's madness. Dude is 12 feet taller than everybody. He needs to use his size. Yeah, and he's got a 100-inch goddamn reach. You know what I'm saying? And you sitting out here playing stupid in the ring. You want to go and make it a tickling contest? That's why I say, man, it drives me crazy when I see these lions turning into pussycats. You know what I'm saying? Turning into pussycats. You in the boxing ring, you trying to make everything a tickling contest now? Nah, man, the whole thing about boxing is to see who can inflict the most damage on their opponent. And Anthony Joshua, to me, at the worst part of his career, which is the second half, this is where he tries to overhaul his style. I just think that's nonsense, and I don't think he's going to have any success against Wilder. I'll give it 3 rounds, and Wilder will tranquilize him. Miss B says Wilder is beer truck driver before boxer. Yeah, Wilder was just a guy out there just trying to make it, man. And he had his daughter. This man started boxing. Just look at what he's accomplished. Wilder's story is very, 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 very motivating, man. And people can say what they want about Wilder, but what he's been able to accomplish, man, is pretty impressive. Top Dog says Joshua got bite by a real dog. Ruiz made him gun shy. Yeah, Joshua can't shake that off, man. So that's, matter of fact, that Andy Ruiz loss hurt Joshua, and that Andy Ruiz loss hurt Ruiz. It hurt AJ because now, he's afraid to let his hands go. He second guesses himself. But we've heard the rumors even before the Andy Ruiz loss, that Anthony Joshua was getting knocked out in sparring by Joe Joyce, Daniel Dubois, and others. So Anthony Joshua must have known all these years that his chin isn't the best. He just got exposed. He hit Ruiz with some hard shots. Ruiz fired back, and that was all she wrote. So I think Joshua's always known that his chin was questionable. And for Ruiz, that was the worst thing to happen to him because he's still trying to ride that Joshua wave, but he's not the same either because, hell, Areola put him down. Luis Ortiz was giving him the business. I just don't. Ruiz was a better fighter before he fought Anthony Joshua, in my opinion. Afro Jam, Joshua lost the plot. Derek James is definitely not teaching him this. Nah, this is one thing where you can't blame Derrick James. I think Derrick James is trying to help Joshua with his confidence, be more defensively responsible, but that's not his nature. You know, it's not. That's like having a lion, right, who's starving, and they see a wounded gazelle, and they run up to the gazelle, wounded, and they decide to just leave it alone and go look for lettuce. Like, yo, what are you doing? You're turning a carnivore into a herbivore. You know what I'm saying? Let the lion be a lion. Let him roar. Quit turning him into a pussycat. It's crazy. Joshua out here playing coochie coo in the ring now. Like, what are we doing here? You a big, what's Joshua, 6'7", 260 pounds? And he's in the ring wanting to play coochie coo? Come on, man. He can go coochie coo his ass in, somewhere else. Go over to the zone, put on a suit and a bow tie, and go coochie coo some business and put together some memorandum of agreements and work contracts with fighters. Don't come coochie cooing in there with Deontay Wilder, because you're going to get a rude awakening. You will get tranquilized. Deontay Wilder will tranquilize him, and it's simple as that, man. Deion Diggs says, not trying to change the subject, but do you think Tank is the face of boxing as of now because of all the fights he's given us in the last year? I think we could say Tank is becoming the face of boxing, not because he's taking the lead when it comes to pay-per-views. You know, he's not consistent. We saw what he did at about 200-something thousand was his highest pay-per-view number before the fight with Ryan Garcia. Let's see what he can do consistently now. But right now, I think when it comes to just the knockouts, I would say he's probably the face of boxing because he's the one, as they're telling us he's the face of boxing. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're shoving down our throats. They're shoving this whole thing about Gervonta Davis, the face of boxing. So they're telling us that he is, and a lot of people are buying into that. But I think he is on his way. I do. Because he keeps finding a way to win. He keeps finding a way to win. And he's winning by knockout. But I'm not so sure he's still the face of boxing yet. But I tell you what, Canelo Alvarez didn't help himself with the performance he put on this weekend with someone who shouldn't have been in the ring with him. You know what I'm saying? But no, I still think it's a little bit early. But if we're just talking about someone who probably the most recognizable name outside of Canelo, it may be Tank Davis right now. Tank Davis has, one, he's an outstanding fighter, knocking people out. Two, his name is always in the news. Not good. Miss B. Thank you so much, Miss B, for subscribing. I appreciate it. What's his name? Tank Davis is always in the news. And, you know, even bad publicity is good publicity. But everyone, if they didn't know who he was before, I'm sure they know him now after the Ryan Garcia fight and then him going and getting sentenced for that hit and run. Then next month, Tank Davis' name is back in the news because he got to go to court about the domestic dispute from December. So Tank Davis, and being the face of boxing, I think he's on his way because he has all those elements that you want to see. And I'm not saying that I think guys have to get in trouble in order to boost their profiles. But what I'll tell you is it doesn't hurt to boost their profiles, grow their platforms, because especially if he could turn things around. I think the biggest thing for Tank Davis is he's on this 90 days of house arrest and he's miserable because he can't go anywhere. But when he comes out of that, he needs to go into a fight with a Haney or a Shakur. I don't think he should go fight Pitbull Cruz. That's what he's looking to do. He's looking to go fight Pitbull Cruz. I just don't think he needs to fight Pitbull. You know, let's just be honest here. Let's just go down to the weight division, right? I apologize for scrolling through here, but you know, we're just having a conversation. Let's come on down here and look, right? This is what we're talking about with Tank Davis. You got Devin Haney. I think Tank tranquilizes him. Lomachenko should lose to Haney, but that's a hard fight for Haney. I think Lomachenko can still fight. But Ryan Garcia, he's already beat him. Pitbull Cruz, Tank with two hands. Pitbull Cruz doesn't stand a chance. Stevenson, the fight to make. Charles Martin, great. Frank Martin, great fight to make. Kambosos Jr., don't need to mess with him. Cepeda, Hughes, Davis isn't ready. So for Tank Davis, when he comes back, to me, he should be going right in there. And plus, when you look at this racking stack right here, right? Look over there to the right, the WBA column. Look where Tank Davis is. Okay? He should be fighting Haney next, right? Devin Haney is fulfilling the WBO column and the WBC column, right? He's fulfilling the mandatories because Lomachenko is the mandatory in both the WBO and WBC. So there you go. Now he got to fight. Who's next? It's Tank Davis. Or he's going to come here and mess around with this guy, Gustavo Daniel Limos, underneath the IBF. You know what I'm saying? So I just think for Tank, his next fight is going to really take him to that next level, especially if he can knock out like a Devin Haney or knock out Shakur Stevenson. And then I say Tank Davis is probably the face of boxing, especially if he does good pay-per-view numbers. Because there's something special about those hands of Tank Davis. And let's be honest, man, to be the face of boxing right now, it doesn't take a whole lot. There's no more Mayweather. There's no more Pacquiao. You know, there's no more De La Hoya. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to show y'all something so we can put this in the right perspective. Rick Tan says small rumors of Tank giving Thurman a go at 147. I'd be down for that. Hey, let me tell you something. I think if you look at 147, I'm gonna tell you right now, when it comes to Tank Davis, word on the street is Tank Davis knocks out cruiserweights. Word on the street is Tank Davis knocks out heavyweights. Okay, so if that's true, let me just do something real quick and make sure y'all hitting that like button, man. I really appreciate it, okay? All right, that being said, if Tank Davis is knocking those guys out, I give him a chance at Keith Thurman. No doubt about that. I give him a chance at Keith Thurman. And Keith Thurman's just been too active, but Keith Thurman hits hard, man. But that would be a very good fight. And for a guy like Tank, with his skill set, Tank Davis is a problem for anybody. If he bubbles up to 147, a guy like Crawford and Spence, I'm just not so sure that goes too well for Tank. But Boots Ennis, I think Tank would be able to get in there and handle Boots Ennis. Yugas, maybe. Ortiz Jr., I think Tank would stand a good chance against all these guys, man. You know? The Real Rick says, if Pac can do it, why not Tank? They're the same size. That's true, but Pacquiao is a extremely powerful, extremely fast hands, volume puncher. Y'all know, you know Rick. Pacquiao throwing goddamn 20, 25 punches, man. His hands, his reaction time, Pacquiao just overwhelms you, man. It's like a damn Pacific typhoon. Death by 1,000 left hands. And Pacquiao's not a guy who comes into the fight looking to lose the first 4 rounds either. You know what I mean? Pacquiao comes in there, he'll catch you cold. And he's not throwing 1 or 2 shots. And when he throws those shots, he throws them with bad intentions. Tank is more calculated. Tank is more calculated. And then, of course, Miss B, there's the rumors about Pacquiao having been on steroids and doing things. And it does make you wonder, right? And I'm going to be real. Anyone who follows the channel know I'm always talking about the cocktails. The Heredia cocktail, the Ariza cocktail, the Usman Sajjad cocktail, and the Conti cocktails. You know what I'm saying? I definitely believe that there are a lot of these fighters out here who are taking those illegal substances. When you look at Pacquiao and how he was knocking everybody out, especially what he did to Ricky Hatton, how he banged up Miguel Cotto, and then all of a sudden, the knockout stopped. So it just makes you wonder, what was Ariza giving him over there with Freddie Roach? Because I tell you what, Ariza was helping out Marcus Maidana for that Floyd fight. You know what I'm saying? And Maidana for that damn what's his name fight, Broner fight. And you saw how Maidana looked. So I'm gonna just leave it as that. I think there may have been some foul play. I don't have no proof on that, but I'm just saying, if someone's knocking everybody out, not getting tired, all of a sudden this person stops knocking people out and shows signs of fatigue in a fight, makes you wonder. And all of this happens like 6-7 years before they retire. It makes you wonder, you know what I'm saying? Conflicto, what's going on, champ? He says, why Crawford don't fight in 154? He's stuck in 147. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I'm going to tell you what I think about Terrence Crawford, what I think about Spence. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. I think Crawford and Spence, I think they're going to fight in Saudi Arabia. I do. I think they're going to fight in Saudi Arabia. And the reason I say that, I'm going to tell you why. You guys remember, yeah. Hold on, before I explain it, Ms. B says, the watermelon head says it all. Yeah. That man does look like he's been eating potatoes. You know what I'm saying? Ms. B says, all facts, true. Thank you. Rick says, if Tank does give 147 a shot, he risks losing a power advantage. Happened to Pac too. Pac never knocked out a full welterweight. Yeah, I agree. You know, they have weight division for a reason. But again, Rick, we keep hearing the rumors, man, that Gervonta Davis knocking out cruiserweights and heavyweights, right, with 16-ounce gloves. So he puts on an 8-ounce glove. I think he should be able to tranquilize anybody up to about 154 pounds. But then again, you know, who knows if those rumors are true. But you hear it all the time about Tank and what he's doing to opponents in sparring, especially guys who outweigh him by 30 and 40 pounds. But back on that Crawford and Spence, I'm telling y'all right now, I truly believe Crawford and Spence, if it doesn't happen, then that's cool. But I think there have been talks of trying to get them over in the Middle East. And I'm going to tell you why I think that. Y'all remember last year when Crawford came to Spence and said, hey, I got some investors. They want to give us a flat fee, right? Then they're going to pay, right? They're going to pay him in the Atlantic Ocean, right? Yeah, throw their ass out there in the Atlantic Ocean. But there was a flat fee thing. And a lot, yes, Spencer's no joke. But people were saying, man, Crawford is he could be getting this money from Warren Buffett, and he has investor friends in Omaha. And I was like, nah, I think he still got that Kinahan connection. And people were like, nah, man, you know, I don't think so. I was like, nah, that doesn't make sense to me. Now I'm gonna tell you, remember that key word, right? Was flat fee, flat rate. Okay? That's what he said. Just remember what I'm telling you. I'm gonna come back to that. He said flat fee, flat rate for him and Spence. Then he said, these people I'm dealing with, there's no need to go through, he was saying they go straight to the fighter. There's no need to go and through managers and everything. Crawford was sounding like him and Spence alone could just make that happen with the guys who are putting up this money. And I remember all of that. And I was like, okay, well, why won't he say who it is that's going to give a flat fee for this undisputed distinction, right? That's all I'm saying. So remember that. Flat fee don't necessarily need promoters and managers. Crawford saying, I'm my own man. If Spence was his own man, we could get the fight done. Remember what I just said. Now, Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, Fury, and Usyk. Big fight supposed to happen over. Appreciate it, Luna. Yeah, I am. I'm going to watch the Janabek fight. Now, remember, you got Usyk, Fury, Wilder, and AJ supposed to fight in Saudi this end of the year. Now, we just talked about not needing a manager, right? Nah, Jay-Z wasn't putting that up. Not needing a manager, right? That's what Crawford was saying. Now, when you look at this stuff happening in the Middle East, this skills challenge promotion, right? From Prince Khalid, Amir Abdallah, Derek Chisora is involved in that. They're offering fighters flat fees. Same thing Crawford was saying. Look, these investors give us flat fees. He didn't say who it was. Now these guys out here in the Middle East, they're putting up a flat fee. They're saying, hey, Crawford's saying, look, if you didn't have those people you had to go through, managers and promoters, you could come and make the deal like me. These guys out here in Saudi, Skills Challenge Promotions, they're saying they don't need to go through managers and promoters. They deal directly with the fighters. So what I'm doing is drawing correlation between what Skills Challenge Promotion in Saudi Arabia is doing and what Terrence Crawford was trying to bring to Earl Spence. And I truly believe that is a direction that Crawford was trying to go, but he didn't want to talk about it and say who it was putting up the money because we know Daniel Kinahan has connections out there in Saudi Arabia. Remember that whole big, I don't know if it was a Super 6 tournament or what it was, where the one where Usyk went out there and fought, and Richard Schaefer, once he established Probellum, that was funded by Kinahan. All that happened in Saudi Arabia. Anyway, Kinahan and that guy Amir Abdallah, who's the president of Skills Challenge Promotion, Kinahan and that guy are like the best of friends. So what I'm saying is, Crawford didn't want to even talk about any of that stuff because automatically the Kinahan name comes up, and that's problems because they're going to feel Kinahan is somehow benefiting financially from a Spence Crawford fight if it happens in the desert. So come full circle to where we are now, and why I think it's going to happen is a chance of it happening in the Middle East, because there's so much money being put up out there, right? I mean, this is, historical numbers being put up as far as fight purses. Crawford just went to Spence again, right? And didn't Crawford and Spence agree to the purse splits? Right? That's what the word is on the street. What I'm giving y'all right now are facts, right? Crawford and Spence, right, according to sources, right, they've agreed on the purse split. But the other stuff hasn't been worked out. And I truly believe Crawford's position as far as the purse split hasn't changed. Well, Crawford's stubborn. Anyone who knows anything about Terrence Crawford, Crawford's stubborn as hell, man. Crawford's not going to come now where he has these guys, investors, whoever it was, which I think is the guys from the Middle East, right, who are going to put up 20, 30, 40 million for him and Spence each to fight in the Middle East. And to come now and agree on some $5 million guarantee. I don't know what they discussed, but what I'm saying is he's not going to agree on some BS number and want to roll the dice on pay-per-view and some event that's going to be where they're going to charge us more than $60 to watch the fight. Crawford's not going to go for that. Yeah, Dion, he's stubborn. So Crawford's not going for that. Crawford wants to get paid. Earl Spence wants to get paid. And I truly believe they're in a holding pattern because the cable networks, these cable systems, I really think that they're trying to take a look at that, figure things out. I think Espinoza is a bit more open to maybe trying to have a fight out there in Saudi. Look, Deontay Wilder's going to fight in Saudi. Y'all tell me Al Heyman doesn't have nothing to do with that? For those of you who are just saying Al Heyman would never do business with Saudi Arabia, isn't Deontay Wilder still attached to those guys? He said he'll work with anyone, but he still has a very good relationship with Al Heyman. He's still part of the PBC stable. If they're letting Wilder go out there to make $50 million, right? That's what Wilder's supposed to be going out there to make, like $50 million. Joshua's making like 50. I think Usyk's making like 60. And Tyson Fury's making like 90 million, right? If he'll let Deontay Wilder go out there and make that money, why won't he let Earl Spence go out there and make that money? What I think they're doing right now is they're doing like a sanity check, a trust but verify, a crossing T's, dotting I's, crossing the street, look both ways, call it Red Cross, hot cross buns. You know what I mean? Crisscross and make you jump. I honestly think that is what's going on. Now, I'm not saying I'm right. I just really feel that's what's going on. But yeah, Dion, I don't think Jay-Z was putting that money up. I didn't hear that. As far as I'm concerned, it was never disclosed. But the reason why I started thinking about this Saudi is because of the specific things Crawford said and the specific things that Wilder said. Yeah, Al going where the money is. Absolutely, Dion. The real Rick says Crawford is 35, damn near 36. He wants to cash out. Hey, man, all these guys want money. Miss B says Ellaby went from Cardinal to Pope. Yeah, Ellaby went from Cardinal to Pope to Suge Knight to Dr. Phil to Barry Gordy. You know, Ellaby could change characters on you. He's the chameleon of boxing, man. But yeah, it's all about the money, man. All about the money. Miss B says Crawford versus Spence should be in the Coliseum in Rome with Pope, Leonard, Ellaby at the ringside. Well, I'll tell you what, they're going to probably be in a Coliseum out there in Saudi, that new one. And that's where the money is. So people can say to them, hey, man, you know, you're off being with your assertions. I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. And I really think that's why Crawford is okay with not fighting. Spence is okay with not fighting because of the kind of money that they're being guaranteed out there. It's just working through the logistics piece. And if you look at it, Crawford wants to fight several times a year. Spence wants to fight. There's nothing wrong with Spence, nothing wrong with Crawford. But how do you, look, you guys, how do you justify the radio silence across the 147-pound division? That's all I'm saying. You hear people saying, oh, PBC is going broke. This is happening. It's the secret society. They're not letting Crawford and Spence fight. Let me tell you something. The whole damn 147-pound division is in a holding pattern. You know, Spence not doing, Crawford not doing nothing. Boots Ennis is supposed to be headlining his own card, but we really don't know what the hell is going on with Boots Ennis. Yuga's supposed to be coming back to fight Barrios. Okay? You got Ortiz out here who, you know, got his medical struggles. Stanley Eunice, he's trying to get back in the ring, but he just can't. Him and Ortiz can't seem to be healthy for anything. Who knows what the hell Keith Thurman is out there playing his flute. Butiev, he's another one. How do you explain Butiev's inactivity? He fought Stanley Eunice, and Butiev went on the shelf. Crowley, he just fought, but he's on the shelf because his situation is crazy. Evanescence, nobody know what happened to him after he got tranquilized by Terrence Crawford. But when you look at this down here, absolutely ridiculous. Crawford, Spence holding up the goddamn welterweight division because those guys are looking to get their butts out there in the Middle East. I'm telling you. Boots Ennis, he's begging for a fight with either Spence or Crawford, which he's not going to get. Stan Eunice took some step-aside money last year, so he's not in a horrible shape, but he's inactive. Alexis Rocha under the WBO. He was Crawford's mandatory. Now he's not fighting Crawford. He's supposed to be fighting somebody else. But he's become inactive. Cody Crowley just fought for a WBC title eliminator. He's inactive. He's not going to be fighting no damn Earl Spence. Crowley's going to have to fight somebody else before he even gets a shot. Rashidi Ellis is bubbling back up, but he's not doing anything. Santillan, Blair Cobb, the best boxer, the best fighter right now in the sport of boxing, in my opinion, he gets no love. And then you just come across and see what's going on. A lot of unmade fights at 147, Dion. But the thing is this, we could understand it if someone explained it. They're not even explaining why. There's no explanation. There's just nothing being said. So we're all suffering because of their silence. You know what I mean? Butiev, you telling me Butiev, man. And Butiev is just like Bertabiev to me. Y'all can't put Butiev in the ring? This is crazy. Absolutely crazy, man. Roman Villa, with his performance against, what's his name, Rashidi Ellis, you can't put him back in the ring. You got, the mean machine, Gavaliauskas. Y'all can't put him in the ring. But you know who, out of all these guys, you know who's getting the most shine right now is Connor Henn. Connor Clomiphene Henn. You know what I'm saying? Conor Ben's going to be coming back to the ring. Conor Ben's going to be getting his fights. They can do that with Conor Ben, but he's over there with Matchroom. They're doing what they got to do for their fighters. But everybody else is in a holding pattern. So that's really unfortunate, in my opinion. But that's what I think is going to happen. I think Crawford and Spence, I think those guys are going to end up over there in the Middle East too. I really think that's what's going to happen, man. And I don't mind being wrong, but when I look at it, to try to make sense of it, that's what makes the most sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Now, that being said, I've been on here for a little bit over an hour. I got about 20 more minutes, so anything y'all want to talk about, just throw it at me, and let's talk about it. But yeah, Luna, when it comes to Janabek, let me tell you something. I just think Janabek is going to keep struggling to get fights, man, because him at 160 pounds, he's just vicious, He's just vicious, man. I think he's going to keep struggling to get fights. But at some point, man, I would like to see all these guys mix it up. You look at all these champions, make them fight each other. But they say Carlos Adames is vicious. They say Adames is a problem. What's going on, Frederico? He says, what was your first reaction to Canelo saying he wants Bivol again at 175 after beating Ryder yesterday. Dion says, what you saying? In fact, my first reaction was Canelo wants to take another loss that's going to help elevate his profile. You know what I mean? Canelo doesn't stand a chance, man. And I also think, Federico, I was also thinking, like we talked about here on the chat, I think the WBC has a whole lot to do with the decisions Canelo makes, man. You know, I think Canelo is going to be lined up. If Canelo fights Bivol, right? This is all the stuff that I talked about it on a stream last night, but the internet has to act up. I'll talk about it again. I think Canelo going at Bivol at 175. I think the WBC and those secret society, they're going to set it up to if Canelo can make the fight close with Bivol. You know what I'm saying? Now I don't think he beats him at all, but I don't think Canelo. I think Canelo has a chance to win a decision because the secret society is going to make sure he wins that fight. Because he wasn't he up on one of the scorecards against Bivol when he fought Floyd Mayweather? Didn't it go to split decision? Didn't he win on one of the scorecards? You know what I'm saying? So what's up, Jordan 6? So I don't think Canelo can beat Bivol. Hell no, I don't. I think they'll rob Bivol because I think they really want Canelo to become. You got to understand, Suleiman in the WBC out there in Mexico, they don't want Bivol to have a WBC title. I really think everything is a push for Canelo to get a win against Bivol and for Canelo to fight Bertabiev. And then that would be a huge fight. And now Canelo fights Bertabiev, and they would pray to God that Bertabiev doesn't knock Canelo out because Canelo's never even been knocked down. And Canelo beats Bertabiev, and now Canelo becomes undisputed at 175 as well. And he makes history again. That's what I think is going on. But yeah, as far as Canelo calling him out, there's a reason why he's calling him out. I don't think it has anything to do with him not wanting to be seen as a cherry picker by making Bivol melt down to 168. I don't think that's the case. In addition to that, I got to watch that with a hairy eyeball because what's his name? Eddie Hearn talking too much. When Eddie Hearn starts taking a narrative and pushing it, you can tell it's bullshit, all right? Eddie Hearn, Eddie Hearn's talking too much about, Bivol is Canelo is pursuing greatness. Canelo really wants to test himself. He wants the same structure as last time. Same money, same weight, same everything, same rules, same everything. Canelo wants it all the same. That way when he beats him, he could say he beat him because he was healthy. There's no excuses from Bivol's team. And I'm like, you know what? They're talking too much. When people start talking a lot, they make me nervous, man. They make me nervous. I'm being honest with you. But Dig says, what you're saying is a fact. I appreciate it. Jordan 6 says 135 is the most active division right now. Well, 135 is looking good, but, some of them 35 pounders about to go to 140. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens between 135 to 140. And even 130, man, with O'Shaquie Foster floating around there. They got some real scrappers down there. The real Ricky Tan says, you're right, bro, 147 on standby, no one explaining it. Yeah, absolutely. Luna says, you think Canelo believes he has a chance? I think Canelo knows he has a chance because all he has to do, I think, is just make it somewhat, don't stay on the ropes and let Bivol get those combinations off on him like last time. Just don't make it as one-sided as it was, and Canelo wins by decision. Simple. I think you're going to see a Triple G, Canelo Triple G1, Canelo Triple G2 type robbery all over again. Jordan 6 says, I think Canelo going to use Pez versus Bivol this time. Hey, man, you never know, man. I think what's his name used Pez against Caleb Plant, but I don't have no proof of that. I just and let me be clear with that, because I don't want to sit here and just be talking out my neck. I just think a guy like David Benavidez, when your body changes like that and you have Heredia on your team, and it just makes me wonder how are they able to do this. But I will say this. When you got guys like Heredia, Conti, Usman Sajjad, they know the supplement game so well. They know what drugs fighters can take that aren't banned substances but can give you the same effects and benefits of taking a banned substance. So having those guys in your camp, it can be a great benefit, but it's just, I just wouldn't want my name associated with those guys, especially for the first time in my career. I looked the way David Benavidez looked, and then you go out and perform like how he performed. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want my name associated with those guys because it does make you wonder. This guy had that much of an impact to your performance. What did you guys do? You know what I'm saying? But as far as Canelo, I don't put nothing past anybody, man. I don't. This is boxing. And I do believe when you get a lot of these fighters come out and say 90% of fighters are doing it, when you get Usman Sajjad who comes out and laughs at the whole VADA and landing at the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, I think that, these guys know people are cheating and they know how to skirt the system. But would Canelo do it? I think anything's possible, man, but I don't know. Dion says Canelo definitely will get demolished by Bertabiev. Still, yeah. Bertabiev is just you get some guys, man, like Inoue. This man had his orbital bone broken, and he fought, and I think his jaw was broken. This man fought through the whole fight against Donaire. Messed up like that. Some guys are just built differently, man. You know what I'm saying? And Bertabiev is one of those guys who's just built differently, No doubt about that. But we just have to wait and see. And it's going to happen sooner than later. Canelo and Bivol is supposed to fight in September. So shit, what we in May? June, July, August, September, man. So he'll be right back in training camp. And this is why I say I think Canelo, if he loses, he won't quit boxing, but he needs to take a break. He's been going nonstop for a long time. Man. Jordan says to Dion, Canelo wouldn't try it. Yeah, I like I said, man, Canelo don't really strike me as that kind of guy, but I guess I say anything's possible in the sport of boxing, man. You know what I'm saying? Anything. You just never know, man. But I don't know, for Canelo, for some reason, I believe Canelo. You know what I'm saying? I do. I believe Canelo. I don't know, for some reason I just believe that guy. Now Conor Ben, I don't believe him at all. But Canelo, for some reason I believe him. But I guess anything's possible, you know what I'm saying? All right, what else y'all want to talk about before I jump off of this live, man? We could talk about anything. What y'all want to talk about? Yeah, he better not. No doubt about that. I got about 10 minutes. We can talk about anything. Y'all just throw it at me. We can talk about anything. If the conversation goes past 10 minutes, no problem. We can keep going. Just throw it at me, whatever y'all want to talk about. Let me see. Oh, yeah, ain't shit going on at cruiserweight, so I'm not worried about that. Oh, I know what I want to talk about before I get off here. We're talking about the face of boxing, right? Let's do this. Since we're talking about the face of boxing, and I was saying there just aren't many options out here. So let's just scroll all the way down here, and let's see. Conor Ben versus Tank at 140. I mean, that's a good scrap. That's a good scrap. Okay, Luna, we could talk about that too. I think at 140, man, that would be a good scrap. I think Tank clips him, but I gotta see how Conor Ben. I watched his interview when he was down there in Mexico, man, with John Ryder and everything. I watched him, man, with Radio Raheem and Conor Ben out there getting emotional. I don't really believe him, but I guess things could happen, but it depends on how Conor Ben looks when he comes back. If he comes back and he still looks like the guy who beat Samuel Vargas and the guy who knocked out Chris Algieri, and he's testing clean, well then, Conor Ben may have something, you know what I'm saying? But I just know Conor Ben, before those fights, he was getting hurt in the ring. You know what I'm saying? He was barely getting out of the first round of fights. How do you all of a sudden increase your punch resistance? How do you all of a sudden become super strong in the ring? How does your body all of a sudden just change like that? But I don't know. Tank, I just think Tank is he has patience, and that's hard to teach a fighter. You know what I'm saying? Someone who's cool with sitting back and just watching the paint dry. Tank's not worried about the crowd booing him. Tank's locked in. His whole thing is setting traps, making you make mistakes, and making you pay and knocking you out. And I just think Tank, when he talks about taking people in deep waters and drowning them, that's where he's comfortable. And I just think that would be a situation with Conor Benn. Conor Benn may have some moments. He's not going to hit Tank with a bunch of clean shots early. He may catch him with 1 or 2 shots, but Tank's going to sit back, be patient, and then start setting those traps. And he's so explosive. Tank Davis is so explosive, as when he explodes on somebody with that left hand, he normally knocks him out or puts him down. So, and then the fight changes. Once Tank starts touching opponents, the fight changes. And the thing about Tank, he's a counterpuncher. And that's the other thing about Canelo I wanted to mention. He's a counterpuncher. So if you're aggressive and you're coming towards Tank, that's a suicide mission, because that's what they want you to do. And that's the thing about Canelo I forgot to mention earlier. Him fighting a guy like Benavidez or Morrell, who are aggressive fighters, that plays right to Canelo's, right to his style and his advantages. He's going to counter you. Simple. Luna wants Tyson Fury being all over the place. Let me tell you something, man. Tyson Fury, I don't even want to report nothing on that guy no more. He's supposed to be fighting Ruiz. Supposed to have a deal done with Ruiz. Now they're supposed to have firmed up a deal over this weekend with Zhilei Zhang. Then he's retiring from boxing. Then he's coming back from boxing. I don't know what the hell Tyson Fury's doing. But the latest and greatest on Tyson Fury, well, let me say this first. Tyson Fury is strictly 100% about money. So if in fact that he's looking at fighting Zhilei Zhang, it's because going to China, Tyson Fury could probably make a whole bunch of money, because the Chinese, man, they go put up their money for Zhang. Zhang is a superstar in China now. They probably pay Tyson Fury a whole shitload of money, talking maybe 50, 60 million, 70 million. He may get that kind of money over there. And Zhang will probably make, a whole bunch of money too. And then Tyson Fury figures he can beat Zhang with no problem. But let me tell y'all something. Zhilei Zhang is the real deal. Okay? He's the real deal. I'm not saying he beats Tyson Fury. But I'm telling you, he got like an 85, 86-inch reach like Tyson Fury. He's a southpaw. He's strong. And I just think that is just a tough fight for both. But for Tyson Fury, he's going where the money is. So you figure he'll go clip Zhang, make quick money, go fight in China, come back, chill out, end of the year, go fight, make his $90 million fighting in Saudi. Okay, so that's what's going on with Tyson Fury. He's all about money, and that's why I think he's jumping from fighter to fighter, and he's undecided on what he wants to do. He's trying to make sure whatever contract he signs, that's going to give him the most money in a basically a stay busy fight. And that's why I think Tyson Fury is all over the place. Ricky Tan says, Canelo saying Bivol, but no one else is. We just nodding our heads waiting to see it. Yeah, no doubt about that. You got Eddie Hearn out there saying they're going to give Canelo what he wants, and Canelo wants Bivol. But you're right. We'll have to wait and see. Dion Diggs says, the face of boxing is Alicia Baumgartner. She's my crush. Yeah, she in shape, man. She definitely in shape, and she can fight. But I think Tony Harrison, I think him and Baumgartner out there, I think the two of them out there pitching woo out there in that Australian sun. I think Tony Harrison was out there pitching that woo, and his damn legs went in that ring with Tim Tszyu. So I don't know, man. Tony Harrison, man, he may get jealous. Know you out there trying to pitch a little woo with old Baumgartner. You know, you know what I'm saying? Ricky Tan says he has to agree with Canelo on his comments about Tank being the face. Tank is getting there for sure, but Ryan Garcia is Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is Ryan Garcia. We all knew what would happen. It wasn't a game changer. No doubt about that. Jordan 6 says Sky Nicholson is fine too. Yeah, they got some attractive women out there, man. And them damn weigh-ins, boy. I'm like, shit, what we got going on here? You know what I'm saying? They coming out there scantily clad. I mean, somebody going to be trying to pitch a little woo after the damn weigh-in. You know what I mean? They better put some clothes on. But I ain't complaining. I mean, should I be too? They need to do pay-per-view event for the damn weigh-in, because them ladies, man, damn, boy, they don't leave nothing to the imagination. Okay, now what I was going to show y'all before I get off, we're talking about the face of boxing, right? So we come all the way down here. Let's just start at the minimum weight division. People probably even know there's such thing as minimum weight. When you look at 105, who the hell knows about anybody fighting at 105, right? There's nobody at 105 we know about. You come up here to the 108-pound division. You look at some of these names. You got Kenshiro Taraji, but nobody really knows anything about what the hell's going on at 108 pounds, right? So who could be the face of boxing, right? You come up here to 112 pounds. Who do we know at 112 pounds that's really making noise and doing anything? Some of these names sound familiar. Nothing jumps out at you. Go up here to 115 pounds. You know, Chocolito Gonzalez, there was a point in time where, hey, Chocolito could have been the face of boxing. He's since fallen off a little bit. Still out here getting busy. Still an amazing talent. But out of everyone from 115 down, I think Chocolito was the guy, really. You know, Francisco Estrada is good, but really Chocolito has the biggest profile from them weight divisions, right? Then you come on up here and you get up here to 118. You know, and you look at who's there. Donaire, we all know him, but he's no damn face of boxing. But Donaire's an outstanding fighter. He's an older head, and he gets busy. And as long as he got that left hand working, Nonito Donaire is going to be a threat. But he's not a threat to anyone who's claiming to be the face of boxing, right? You bubble up to 122 pounds. Stephen Fulton there needs to be more coverage. Yeah, there needs to be a whole lot more. Well, you talking about them weigh-ins? Or you talking about them damn these guys from these lower weight divisions? Hopefully you're talking about them weigh-ins. But at 122 pounds, if Fulton goes and he's able to beat Inoue, then what do we say about Fulton? He's still not the face of boxing, but definitely is going to help his profile. Now you're up here at 126 pounds. Let me tell you something, man. Vargas did pretty good against O'Shaquie Foster, but Foster made him look crazy. You got Figueroa, you got Lara, Max Sayo. Look, they got some good names, but for the most part, nobody outside of the diehard boxing fan knows who those guys are. Oh, both. Yeah. No doubt, Dion. No doubt about that, man. Then you come up here to the 130-pound division. I think out of all these guys at 130, if O'Shaquie Foster keeps beating people the way he beat Ray Vargas, Foster could go on at some point in time to become, because he looked, I don't know if he can become the face, but I would say out of these guys, he may be the only one that really seems to have a chance. What he did against Ray Vargas was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now you're up here at 135. Well, this is where the face of boxing, where a lot of people feel resides right now. You got Davis. Shakur Stevenson could go on. Devin Haney, I think, is right there. I think his dad did a great job with his career, but it could have marketed him a little bit differently. These guys are so young. These guys are, it's just, why aren't they in commercials? You know, why aren't they on cereal boxes? You know what I mean? Why aren't they on here Nike commercials, Adidas commercials, man, Reebok commercials? Why don't they have sponsorship deals like what endorsement deals, what Gatorade commercials? Why don't they come up with their own sports drink, you know? You got KSI and Logan Paul. Got this Prime thing. That Prime stuff is good, man. I have about 10,000 different flavors, different bottles and flavors over here, man. My kids love them. Every time I go out, I spend $300. I buy everything. All of them taste good. But why can't these guys do it? They're young. You know what I'm saying? If Master P can come out here with rap snacks, if Master P can come out here with the noodle game, if he and Snoop Dogg can make Snoop loops, why can't these guys do it? You know what I'm saying? Why can't they do it? That's all I'm saying. These guys, they're making their money in boxing. These guys should be making gazillions of dollars outside of boxing. You know, now I don't want to jump weight divisions, but I'm going to save my comment for when I get to, just watch, you'll see what I'm saying. Here at 140 pounds. You know, they got some guys who can make some noise, but nobody here to be the next face of boxing. Teofimo, like he had a chance, but he ain't going nowhere, in my opinion. At 147, hey, Earl Spence, an Olympian. Terrence Crawford, man. You know, these guys have outstanding amateur backgrounds. But, you know, they just, for some reason, haven't been able to get there. But I'll tell you what, you can't be getting on social media. When you're talking about your brand and people want to take you and put you in commercials and stuff like that, you can't be on social media talking about N-word this, N-word that, MF for this, F you this, you know, cussing each other out, being disrespectful to everyone. You know, if someone wants you to represent their brand, you know what I'm saying? You got to have to conduct yourself as a professional. And I think a lot of times these guys, They just don't have the right person there guiding and mentoring them. Because if they did, Cool Breeze, they would definitely be more mainstream, like a Sugar Ray Leonard. You know what I mean? But I don't think these guys really have anyone to guide them and push them. And who knows what their contracts say? Maybe they can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they can't do it. Because when I just sit back and look at Spence and Crawford, I'm like, man, those guys should be out here. They should be in everything. Undefeated, look at the Olympic pedigree, look at just the amateur pedigree, undefeated. Crawford case, man, 3 different weight divisions. I mean, what are we doing here? And this man can't go on and sign some deal with Nike or do something? It's just sad, right? So now we get up here to 154. This is what I'll save my comment for. You got Jermell Charlo and Jamal Charlo. Forget about everyone else in boxing. Everyone. Let's just focus on Jermell and Jamal. You got Jermell and Jamal Charlo. 2 twins, right? Both champions, one undisputed. Good-looking guys, nice smiles. They're crazy, but they got nice personalities. You telling me that 2 twins, and I don't talk about race on my channel or religion, but I'm just going to say it is what it is. We're all adults. 2 African-American twins who are whipping everyone's asses. And you telling me there's no one out there who wants to take these guys and make them the face of anything? I'm talking about from their brand, their clothing line, the sports drink, the supplements, hell, putting them on more different interviews, the night shows, whatever. You tell me they can't boost their profile anymore? There's no one who wants to invite these twins to their platform? Come on, man. Jermell Charlo and Jamal Charlo should be billionaires. Should be billionaires, man. I mean, you've had other twins in boxing. You've had triplets, I think, in boxing who have all been belts, or brothers who've all been belts. But you got these twins here handling business right now. Excuse me, right? Handling business. And nobody want to do anything with those guys. Dion Diggs says, I thought ESG would be using Jerry Jones to help his status more. You would think so, but I'm going to tell you what, Dion, it's like I said, man. I just think those guys, they just need to be more mindful of what they're saying, man. You go to Twitter. Twitter is the most toxic place in the world. I'd rather go into a sewer somewhere and reach my hand in and pull out a handful of whatever I can find in the sewer than get on Twitter and type shit. You know what I'm saying? Twitter's the most toxic place in the social media world. But you go there and you look at the kind of stuff Earl Spence is tweeting, the language he's using, guys like Jerry Jones and these other people who can really help to grow these guys' platform and profiles. I think that's where some of these guys are hurting themselves, is because it's hard not to just be true to who you are. Look at Adrian Broner. He's as real as it can be, right? Adrian Broner is what he is. But Adrian Broner, just being real, has shot himself in the foot. But at the end of the day, when he goes and lays down at night, he can say, hey, I did it my way, Frank Sinatra. You did. But your way isn't being the consummate professional. And if you want to grow your brand, you have to be the consummate professional. I'm going to tell you that. I did 25 years in the military. Everybody who's on my channel subscribed, they know that. Let me tell you something. That shit is tough. Especially when we got to the level I got to, I couldn't go any higher, rank-wise, you know what I mean? I went all the way. And I was still, I almost said my real name, but let's just say I was still hood champion. I didn't go and try to be something I wasn't. But at a certain point in time, I learned I had to listen a whole lot and start talking very little. Because I was in a huge glass house, man. And when you're in a huge glass house like that, it only takes a very small stone to shatter your house. And these guys who are champions or undefeated or who are considered elite or pound for pound, they're in a huge glass house. And all it takes is one stupid tweet to shatter that glass house or shatter opportunities. Opportunities they probably would never learn that were right there at their doorsteps, but somebody saw some nonsense they posted on Twitter and said, is this the kind of guy that you guys are talking about? For us to get behind? We don't want him to have anything to do with our brand. And they walk away from him. So they don't even know a door closed because they never saw it open. So again, it makes me wonder who's mentoring and guiding these guys, but at the same time, what's in their contracts? Is the contract saying that they're not allowed to go out there and sign different deals, you know? And if so, maybe Al Heyman gets a piece. I mean, I don't know. I'm just having a conversation with y'all right now. But once we get past 154, right? So right now it's Tank and Canelo, right? That's all we got, right? You get up here to 160. Who you got? There's no one here. Even Jamal Charlo. We already talked about him and his brother. There's no one at 160. 168. We already talked about Canelo. David Benavidez. I don't think he'll become the face of boxing. They're already looking at the fact that his dad's Mexican, his mom from Ecuador. You know what I'm saying? They're already holding that against. So people are already looking to turn against Benavidez because he's one. They say, oh, he's American. He's not Mexican. Oh, he's Mexican. He's not. He doesn't really claim America. Oh no, but then he's half Ecuadorian. So he's not. I mean, they're finding reasons already to tear David Benavidez down. So Benavidez is going nowhere as the face of boxing. Then Plant. I don't know about Plant, man. I don't know about him, man. But really, look at everybody else. There's just nobody there. Go up to 175. Shit, ain't none of these guys. If you let Mauricio Suleiman have his way, he sure as hell ain't gonna let the Russians become the face of boxing. But I think Bivol, if he beats Canelo again, that just helps Bivol, helps his profile. But the face of boxing, kind of, at least, I'm talking about on the international level. I just don't see it, man. I don't see anybody there. You come up here to cruiserweight, which, you know, Badu Jack went and got hooked up with a little WBC strap, which was a joke, but there's no one at cruiserweight. Then you come up to the heavyweight division. This is another one of those conversations, right? Usyk is doing outstanding stuff. But, you know, he for some reason, some people still don't want to get behind him. Tyson Fury. Some people don't really want to get behind him. And I can kind of understand the back and forth with people as far as wanting to support Tyson Fury. Too many question marks about him. Did he cheat? Does he really have mental health issues? He still comes out here and Tyson Fury is very disrespectful towards people. Then he talks about religion. Then he talks about being a gypsy. And everything he says to me contradicts each other. You know what I'm saying? And I just think it's hard for people to want to sit there and accept Tyson Fury to be the face of anything because one day he's hot, one day he's cold. Deontay Wilder, he can't be out there twerking in the Alabama heat with jeans on and want people to get behind you and see you as a face of boxing. Now, with Deontay Wilder and all the knockouts that he's had, right? The way he's out here tranquilizing people, that's crazy that he hasn't gotten more exposure as a heavyweight champion here stateside and more recognition internationally. But again, it goes back to the brand and how you conduct yourself. And I think a lot of people just haven't really forgotten about him saying he wants to catch a body, he wants to kill someone in the ring. People just haven't let him get from underneath that, you know what I'm saying? They still bring it up to this day. Anthony Joshua, I think he's still right there. He just has all Anthony Joshua needs to do. If Anthony Joshua knocks out Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua's out of here. He is out of here. If he knocks out Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua is back to being the face of boxing. Zhang, he could be the face of boxing out there in Asia. If he fights Tyson Fury and knocks out Tyson Fury, then Zhang is the face of boxing in Asia. And then everyone else, that's pretty much it. So that being said, that's what it is, man. Deion Diggs says that a lot of these guys need to learn how to fall back for the better of their careers. Yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. But that being said, let me make sure I got everybody comments. It says, will boxing ever become mainstream again? I don't know, man. Everything's about money now. And the times are different, you know what I'm saying? Deion says was just telling some of the homies about this. Yeah, absolutely, Deion. I think you typed that. We were talking about these guys marketing themselves a little bit better to make more money. But that being said, man, hey, I appreciate y'all showing support, watching being on the stream with me. It means a lot to me, man. I really appreciate it. Oh, yeah, Shushu's a problem. Shushu is definitely a problem, man. I think Shushu is going to make some noise. Matter of fact, since we're talking about it, let me come on down here because I think Shushu's fighting at I think he's fighting at 120. What's he fighting at? Like 126 or something? Let me see if I can find his name. Bruce Carrington. I know he's bubbling up. What weight division is he fighting in though? Let me come on up and find him. I know he's starting to get his shine. What weight division is Shushu fighting in? I thought he was let me see. Where we at? 126? I don't think he's at 130. Let me see. I thought Shushu was like 120 something pounds. I may be wrong, but I can't remember what weight division Bruce Carrington's fighting in. But I thought he was like underneath 126 pounds, man. Maybe he just hasn't broken to the rankings yet. But Bruce Carrington's going to be a problem. No doubt about that, man. Bruce Carrington can fight 126. Yeah, that's what I thought, man. But yeah, Bruce Carrington is definitely going to be a problem. He hasn't broken into the rankings yet, man. I'm looking here. Let me see. He hasn't broken to the rankings yet. This right here is 126 pounds, right? But he hasn't broken to the rankings yet. I'm looking. Yeah, he's not quite in here yet. But I tell you what, Bruce Carrington is on his way. Yeah, Bruce Carrington is definitely on his way, man. The Monster don't want none of that. I don't think anybody want nothing to Bruce Carrington, man. I was watching him fight. You know, watching him as a little kid, you know, is one thing, but watching him as a professional, man, it's just amazing to see his growth. You know what I'm saying? Just to see his growth. Bruce Carrington is no joke. He is no joke, man. But that being said, I got to jump off of here. Is there anything else y'all want to talk about before I jump off of here, man? I appreciate y'all joining the live. Appreciate the conversation, man. Anything else y'all want to talk about? But as far as me and my concern, yeah, I think his time is over. I think he's still the face of boxing when you look at it holistically. But Tank Davis is definitely, man, you know, Tank Davis is on his way. He's on his way, man. And outside of these two, there really is no one else, really, man, that's going to be stepping into their shoes. These guys have a lot of work to do if they want to get to that point. But that being said, man, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. Y'all know what I'm in, man. I'm in the breeze.